have with us Mr. Praveen Kumar. Praveen is an old friend, is also the acting director of VSO, which is a voluntary organization headquartered in the UK. He's the acting director for India. Praveen is going to speak exactly on the same topic, which is about enablement through self-advocacy. Praveen has been a human rights activist, especially working for rights of the people living with disability. Yeah. So Praveen is going to speak about enablement through self-advocacy. Our first speech for the opening of REX 2013 and 14. Over to Praveen Kumar.
Yeah. I again salute everybody, all the heroes, fellows and friends from far off places who have come here. My salute to all your dedicated work for many years in different areas which you're doing. I just want to throw light today on the invisible population of our country as we talk about the preamble and the constitution. Because what we heard an hour ago, or what we might have read in the books, millions of people actually do not know what it holds for them or what it means for them today. So I'm bringing your attention to a population which we say disability, or persons with disabilities. Now, let me give you an example of what life chances hold for them. Now, in a family or in a society, we want children to have education, we want them to have good healthcare services, we want them to play, we want them to have a social life, we want them to grow up and go to college and meaningfully be employed and have a source of livelihood. But unfortunately, for this population, all these just remains as a dream. Let me give you an example of a child whom I met some years back. His name is Domu. He was born in a family 300 kilometers away from Raipur, the state capital of Chhattisgarh state. His family is very poor economically. They do not have enough means to meet their ends. Their family has hand-to-mouth existence, and the parents work as daily wage laborers. Now, when his mother was pregnant, she did not have access to primary healthcare service. She did not take sufficient nutritious food. She did not even know the different immunization processes which one has to go through. And worse of all that, she had to go through a delivery which happened by a traditional birth attendant who was untrained. This is a scenario, and this is just one instance which I'm talking about, but it holds true for millions of people in this country even today. So as a result, Domu was born disabled. One of the causes of disability, which is linked to lack of poor immunization and lack of attention during prenatal care. So Domu was born. The family really, they felt very, they were in guilt. They were very unhappy because they didn't know what to do with the child. They went to the Anganwadi center in the village and the doors were shut. They said, Domu has polio. We can't take him. How will he come to the school? They went to the primary healthcare center again for some hope. So the primary healthcare center was locked. So that's I think, technological disability. Okay. So, yeah, so, that's a scenario. So they go to the primary healthcare center and the primary healthcare center is closed, it's locked. They time and again go to the center, but even if it is open, they say we don't have any remedy for this child. And the doctor says, sorry, we can't do anything much about it. He has polio. And it's your problem. So the child grows a bit. Now Domo is 6 years of age. He has to go to school primary school. The primary school, the parents go to the primary school. The primary school also says that, in Hindi, ये पढ़ के क्या करेगा? इसका नसीब में क्या है? ये पढ़ के क्या करेगा? ये तो बोझ है, आपके घर में रखिए. So that's the reality. I mean, and then Domo never went to school, or never went. He's grown up. He's 10 years old now, but never went to school. And that's the reality which our country holds for a huge population. So, that's the stark reality. And 82% of them live in rural India. 70% of them belong to poor families, and families like Domo who have to meet their daily ends and do not see the light of day. So that's the reality. Now, we seldom, when it comes to disability, we seldom use the term differently abled, and we say special children, and we say special. Now, another question to the group: are all of you equally able in this room? No? Somebody can fly a kite, somebody can, somebody can run, somebody can cook, somebody cannot cook. So everybody is not equally abled. So why do we say, when we say differently able, the fact that we say differently able is we're putting that particular individual, the human being, different. All starts from the mind. It's all here. So that's one. And special, I'm not special, I cannot see, so how can you say I'm special? I'm here like all of you, I'm just standing in front of you and speaking and telling some of my thoughts, which anybody will do. I'm not sent from the skies above, no? So these are two contradictory things which generally run parallelly in society, and which also puts disabled people in the position they are, saying that you're different, you're less, you're special. So that's one point which I wanted to bring to the forum. Leading from this is the looking at the life chances again. Now we said health, education, opportunities are not there for disabled people. Livelihood opportunities also. There are n number of programs which the government do. And these programs are like, let's say, poverty alleviation programs like the National Rural Employment Guarantee Program, the National Rural Livelihoods Mission, whatnot. You have a lot of programs. But do disabled people have access to these programs? There have been instances when some of our disabled friends from rural areas went to the block office and asked them for a job. The answer is, and I quote again, they say that, तुम अपना शरीर को संभाल नहीं पाओगे, तुम क्या काम करोगे? They would have come all the way to the block office asking for a job, but the answer is, they say that no, you can't take care of yourself. What kind of work will you do? So these are some of the critical areas or some of the issues which we have in society today. And when we talk about development processes, we talk about civil society, we say, huge, we are doing great work. We are working with Dalits, we are working with children, we are working with street children, we are working with women's empowerment. So all these processes, again, we somehow leave out that disabled person from that Dalit family or a tribal family. Women with disabilities are left out from the women's movement or women's empowerment processes. So what development are we talking about? We said, we're working on development. So what development are we talking about? If disabled people from those groups are left out, just because of that attitude where we call them special or differently abled and so on. Now, all of you must be knowing the story of Ivan Pavlov. Have you heard of Ivan Pavlov? So Ivan Pavlov is a scientist from Russia, and he did an experiment with dogs. And he came up with a theory of classical conditioning. Now, this experiment, for friends who want to know about it, is he first shut a dog in a room and observed it. And on the first day, he gave the dog food. And when he brought the food in front of the dog started salivating. So second day, he got the food, But along with the food, he rang a bell. So the dog started salivating again. He did this for 2-3 days. And on the fifth day, he just rang the bell. So what did the dog do? Salivated. So this is called classical conditioning. Now in the same way, my friends, I must admit and share here that all of us are classically conditioned to say that, okay, disabled people means show pity, give some charity, give some, help them so that our sins in the next life will be washed off. Yeah, we'll be born as Brahmins. Sorry, I mean, in the Indian context, that's how it is looked at. So, that's the kind of scenario. We are all classically conditioned or indoctrinated from our childhood. When it comes to a disabled person, only that help needs there. But we don't look at disabled people as equals. We don't look at them as equal participants in democratic processes. They can contribute to the economy. Have any one of us thought about that they can be contributors to economy? This is the scenario. Now, coming to my main part of my discussion or my thoughts is enablement through self-advocacy. So enablement through self-advocacy is what I'm going to talk about now. When I started off my journey in this development sector, I realized that I made a cautious decision not to work in the disability sector because per se the disability sector is a charity-driven approach. But I thought, me being a visually impaired person, I need to understand the development processes. What does land right means? What does women's empowerment mean? What does food security mean? One of our colleagues here did mention about food security. So what does food security mean? So all these issues I did start working on and got a basic understanding. 10 years ago, friends, I was in Chhattisgarh, lived in rural India, spent a lot of time in villages, met a lot of people, and understood this whole dynamics of disability and development. One morning, it was a February incidentally in 2004, I woke up, and I woke up to a sound of chisel. You know chisel, right? They make all these metal work and all that. So 6:30 in the morning, I woke up to the sound of chiseling sound. And I was wondering, what is this happening in this village in Raigad, in a very forest, it's a dense forested area, and in a rural area, what's this noise happening? So I inquired. So one of my friend with whom I was staying, they said that it's somebody who's doing work on metal. They're trying to create artifacts using metal. So then after inquiry, I came to realize that this person who was doing it was disabled by both his lower limbs. And he was sitting there and doing this work early in the morning. And I spoke to him, I said, what are you doing here? He said, no, I live here and I have to do this. And there's a big order which has come for a wedding. And I need to deliver this by tomorrow. So there's some 50 pieces I need to work on. So that day I realized, my friends, that disabled people have potential. They can do things. Similarly, I met another person in my same trail working in rural areas. He has no two limbs again, and he is polio affected. He runs a shop, business,
Praveen. Any questions for Praveen? You can go on to the microphones. We'll have 3 questions before we break for tea. Yes, sir. Please go on to the microphone.
My name is Hari Singh. I am a health activist. मैं कहना चाहूँगा कि जो मेंटल डिसेबिलिटी है उसको मैंने बहुत नज़दीक से देखा है क्योंकि खुद मेरी बेटी शी इज़ 21 ईयर्स, तो मानसिक विकलांगता के अंदर अभी बहुत काम की आवश्यकता है क्योंकि आज भी जो मैं देख रहा हूँ कि एजुकेशनल एक तो रिफॉर्म्स नहीं है मानसिक विकलांगता के अंदर। आज भी जो मानसिक विकलांग बच्चे हैं उनको अंग्रेज़ी में ही पढ़ाया जाता है, उसको उसकी जो लैंग्वेज बैरियर है एक सबसे बड़ा, उसकी मातृभाषा में उसको वो एक एजुकेशनल सिस्टम या वो नहीं मिल रहा है इन स्कूल। और दूसरा स्किल डेवलपमेंट्स कि हर बच्चे के अंदर कोई ना कोई स्किल्स होते हैं, चाहे वो मानसिक विकलांगता ही क्यों ना हो, तो उसके लिए कुछ ना कुछ काम होना चाहिए और स्कूल्स ज़्यादा होने चाहिए। स्पेशली जो लड़कियां हैं मानसिक विकलांगता के साथ, उनके लिए कोई अलग से कोई सेपरेट या ऐसा कुछ प्रावधान नहीं है। अभी जो बिल है पार्लियामेंट में अभी वो डिस्कस में है, तो कोई ऐसा आप प्रयास करें कि इसके अंदर कोई अच्छा सा काम हो, क्योंकि मैं बहुत नज़दीक से खुद अपने बच्चे के लिए मैं देख रहा हूँ, तो थोड़ा इसके लिए आप प्रयास करें और जो यथासंभव हो सकता है तो वो आप प्लीज़ करें।
नहीं, आप जो बोल रहे हैं वो मतलब जो मानसिक जो विकलांग है उनके साथ ज़्यादा काम हुआ नहीं है इस देश में, और जो भी हुआ है वो इंस्टीट्यूशन में उनको डाले जाते हैं, लेकिन हम लोग जो काम करते हैं उसको डी इंस्टीट्यूशन करने के लिए कोशिश करते हैं। लेकिन आपका बात हम बिल्कुल सहमत है उसमें। डेफिनेटली जो भी प्रक्रिया हो रहा है, जैसे महिलाओं का जो आंदोलन हो रहा है या विकलांगता का आंदोलन हो रहा है, उसमें जो मेंटल डिसेबिलिटीज़ जो है उनको जोड़ के साथ में जोड़ के ले जाना चाहिए।
Okay, thank you, Praveen. Anyone else who has a question or a reflection? Yes, you can use this.
I'm Dr. Sunil Gupta speaking. I have a very small observation and question. I fully appreciate your concern. About a few years back, I attended a HT summit organized by Hindustan Times. So they had a, apart from this all lecture baji and all, they had a very good session, interaction with the visually impaired. So what they did, they assembled a turnout of people, normal people, plus a mix of visually impaired in a dark room. Okay. So they people who could see, so they gave them a pen, piece of paper and a pen. So it was as if they are also blind because they couldn't see. Then they asked the participants to just scribble down, as if you are not seeing, but it's a complete dark room. To just scribble down and feel, feel what it's like to be, without eyes, something. It was not a something, what to say, laughable on the blind, but it was just an experience to just, instead of speaking, they realize from within how it feels. And then they led us to a blind alley, completely dark. So it was a very good experience. I just couldn't express through words, I think, but what I felt. So after that, they asked other participants how they felt it, So I think that is very remarkable, and a lot of things have to be done in this field. I fully appreciate. And one thing I must reiterate: let's not make these people call these people say visually impaired or something. They are not. No, if God has taken one sense, it has given 2 other senses, which I think they are not capable. They are not aware of that. So they are not in any case maybe visually impaired, maybe disability from other angle. They are not lagging in any way. They have some extra senses, But let's not call them visually impaired or disabled or something. Yeah, thank you.
Jerry, may I share a reflection? Actually, this is not really a question because I thought it was very important to share that when we speak about people with disabilities, we have a tendency to either make them victims or make them superheroes. And what really touched a chord in what he presented today was to say that they are real and they have emotions. And this is because I learned, because I have a friend who cannot see, and she turns around and often tells me that I have anger. And if I were to get a forum or a space to be able to express the anger, you would really see me for who I am. And I really owe my career to her, because when I had just come to Delhi and we had just started what is our interaction with civilian life, because I'm a Fauji kid, we were given a strange assignment, a radio interview with a celebrity. I didn't know any celebrities. I didn't know what a celebrity meant. I was disempowered in the sense of social networking. And there's a very accomplished IPS woman officer who was related to us, but who made me wait outside her door for many, many days at a stretch, but never had the time to speak to me for 10 minutes. Then I asked a friend in desperation, do you know a celebrity, I said, who is really worth something? So she said, there is somebody who cannot see, will you talk to her? And that lady called me over. I did not know much about her, but when I came to meet her, she made me sit and offered me water. 2 minutes later, she said to me, I will give you an interview. She's India's first woman Supreme Court lawyer who is visually impaired and a woman. But she said, I will speak to you because when I gave you a steel glass, the inflection in your voice did not change. That is how I judge if people are interested in class, money, or are really interested in my story. That is the kind of wisdom, and those are the kind of stories that we need to share. So all I would like to ask as a question is, when can I introduce her to you, and when can her story and that of others come forward?
So like I said earlier, the whole idea of Rex is to bring people like that to the fore and make their voices heard. So please
thank you so
bring them
much,
to
and
the
I'm
fore.
very, very glad that this was the opening talk. It's so important, and I have a very, very severe myopia. So I have a sense of how the world is when I remove the frames, and I know that it's disorienting, it's challenging, but I completely cannot stand in your shoes. But thank you so much, and congratulations on what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Praveen. So our first speaker for Rex 2013 and 14. A big hand for him. Put your hands together, please.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Praveen. And that's